Hey, I'm Jay Kumar, the BassBlaster, and this is your Seafoam top 5 things to love about forward-facing sonar. Number 1. From a 20,000 foot level, forward-facing sonar is making us smarter. We are learning stuff about our favorite fish that we didn't know before, or we simply got wrong. Most of the time, we're like this with the fish.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
In other words, we like to fish how we want. We force feed them. But is that the most intelligent way to fish? No. In fact, the fish might not even be there that we're fishing for. But forward-facing sonar will tell us what's up. Check out what 77-year-old, I believe, Rick Clunn said about it, one of the best bass fishermen of all time. To me, the biggest benefit of this technology is that it's taught us the behavior of these suspended fish that we really didn't understand. As bass fishermen, we formed a lot of assumptions and false theories about what they did. There's no doubt forward-facing sonar has been a huge educational tool. And he also said, I don't think you can ever criticize the advancement of accurate information. In other words, the mighty Rick Clunn, who has literally seen it all in bass fishing, is stoked to learn things about his favorite fish, his favorite quarry, that he didn't know before forward-facing sonar came along. Stuff like how fish set up on structure, where they go when they're not on structure, how to catch them when they're roaming, and that kind of stuff. Here's Zona with a little more.
I thought I knew how they acted in schools or individual fish, and what you really learn is they act a lot different than we've all thought.
So once again, forward-facing sonar is teaching us, including some of the best bass fishermen on the earth, more about bass. So forward-facing sonar is making us think differently about fish behavior and fishing, which...
It feels so good! So good!
Heck yeah, it's good. Number 2.
Oh, we ain't got time for your shenanigans!
I don't know about you, but I don't have enough fishing time. And when I do get time to fish, I ain't got time for a lot of bass shenanigans, man.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Okay, a big part of the fun is figuring them out, but take it from a guy who lives in one of the worst bass fishing states in the country. I love the Garden State. Hooking and lipping fish is a big deal, man. Think about this. I've done it, and I'm sure you have too. I'm at work, and I'm thinking when I'm gonna go hit the lake later, I'm gonna go to this first deep point that I really like to drag a jig down, and then I'm gonna go up a couple points to that other deep point and drag a jig around there, and then I'm gonna hit that riprap. And that's exactly what I would do and have done, and most of the time I don't get bit. But now, with forward-facing sonar, I can stop the boat 70 feet away or so from point number 1 and scan that sucker. So I don't have to drive over it to see if there's any fish there. And if there aren't any, I'm off to point number 2 and I'm gonna do the same thing. Now the other part about this is if you want to focus on bigger fish. No doubt forward-facing sonar shows you fish size better than 2D sonar. So it helps you find the bigger fish and even target them, rather than if you get on a bunch of fish wading through 12 or 20 smalls hoping to get a big one.
See how they'll show themselves? Look at all of them. Now I can tell these are not very big smallmouth here. I can tell because look how they relate in size to my drop shot and my drop minnow.
If you're out there and not getting bit, you can end up like this guy.
We are out of time.
Luckily Thanos ain't real, man. Number 3. Here's a few facts you probably already know. Number 1, since COVID, a lot more people are fishing and a lot more people are working from home, which gives them more time to fish. And that means there's more fishing pressure now in general. And with the rise of college and high school fishing, which is really cool, sometimes there's more tournament pressure on lakes as well. What does all that mean? Well, obviously fish in some places at some times of the year are feeling a lot more pressure. They're seeing a lot more baits. So they're more skittish, more lockjaw, whatever you want to call it, like this.
I can't eat in front of you. I have to go to the bathroom.
All right, the fish can eat in front of us, but they're not going to maybe be as easy to fool. In that situation, seeing where fish actually are in real time and how they set up and how they're reacting to certain baits can make all the difference in the world. That's a lot better than blind casting to banks or structure in a highly pressured situation. The other deal is that forward-facing sonar enables people to fish for fish that have either not been fished for much or at all, or in certain situations or locations that they haven't been fished for, like out deep or suspended fish. What does that mean? It means that everybody isn't beating the banks anymore. And that can or will spread out the pressure across the whole lake than maybe ever before in the history of bass fishing. I think pretty much every lake in the country gets a decent amount of pressure now. So a forward-facing sonar ends up spreading out that pressure and indirectly and directly helps us get more bites.
Sounds good to me.
Me too, man. Number 4. Forward-facing sonar is also leading to new fishing techniques and new baits. And what bass fisherman doesn't love new baits? First, we saw new jig heads and soft plastics for suspended fish, like the Yum FF Sonar Minnow and Jig Head, and many others. And they're still getting rolled out, like this Buckeye Scope Head with a Yamamoto Scope Shad. Then we saw a jerkbait revival, partly because of forward-facing sonar and partly because Hank Cherry won 2 Bassmaster Classics with one. So instead of the whole jerkbait game being dominated by the amazing Mega Bass Vision 110, along came the Berkley Stunner 112, the Yozuri 3DB 110, and most recently the Rapala Maverick 110. They're all great jerkbaits and more are coming. Then, as I've said recently, Berkley upped the forward-facing sonar baits game by rolling out 3 what they're calling forward-facing science baits. The Berkley Power Switch, the Berkley Finisher, and of course, the Kredge. I'm not going to roll through them all again here, but the bottom line is they're designed to be fished with a multitude of actions from the bottom to the top of the water column, and they're designed to be manipulated right in front of the fish's face to hopefully get them to commit. We're also getting new rods, reels, line, and even more stuff specifically designed for forward-facing sonar techniques, all of which can be used to catch fish without forward-facing sonar. The cool thing is that forward-facing sonar is driving thinking about fishing, fish behavior, and all that differently. And then that is driving bait development. Can't wait to see what else is coming, man. Maybe they'll all help us get big green ones to smash. Number 5. A forward-facing sonar is bringing new excitement to our sport like every major deal in bass fishing always has. Go back as far as you want. Gary Klein bringing the first flipping stick to the national scene was disruptive. A dedicated bass boat with a raised flipping deck was new and disruptive. Every fish that saw a chatterbait, an A-rig, or the color sexy shad for the first time acted like they were completely dumb. And there's many more examples, many of which were controversial at the time too. Plus, because of forward-facing sonar, there's been a lot of discussion about sonar and technology and where that might go in the sport and what might happen, which is all healthy and good. Are there downsides to forward-facing sonar? Possibly. Do we know for sure what any are yet? Nope. Are some folks pretending we know the bad stuff already? Yes. Which brings me to my last deal. Forward-facing sonar is a good use of alien technology. Okay. It makes older guys who use it seem younger and more attractive. Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. It might indicate you have a heart condition. Not your physical heart, spiritually speaking. Hey, it's fine if you don't like forward-facing sonar, you don't like watching the pros fish with it, whatever. I'm not saying I'm in love with it either. But if you see some real emotion coming out of yourself about this, about bass fishing or about sonar in boats, like anger or bitterness, be careful, man. That's spiritual stuff, and whether you can see it or not, we are in a spiritual war. Maybe just take a page from old Lando.
I don't like it. I don't agree with it. but I accept it.
Forward-facing sonar or any piece of gear does not automatically make you a better fisherman. It's not evil, it does not hurt fish, and it ain't unfair to the fish. Those fish are there to be caught, and for some people, eaten. So if guys catch it with forward-facing sonar and let them go, that sounds more than fair to me. And last but not least, just because Thanos put 8 transducers on his boat does not mean forward-facing sonar is a sign of the apocalypse, man.
What I'm about to do to your stubborn, annoying little planet, I'm gonna enjoy it.
That's all I got for you this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Seafoam. Go to BassBlaster.com or .rocks to sign up for the Bass Juicy Filled email. See you next week. God bless you.